Today we're in Key West, Florida. One of the many residents of Key West that you might encounter during your vacation down there. This is episode 19, Shopping on Duval Street, which we will get to here in just a second after we check this little guy out. So Key West has been an interesting situation in the last year or so. Today is May 1st, 2021 when I'm putting this video together. This trip that we recorded this video on was Labor Day week of 2020, so early September, right before the November 2020 elections. And Key West passed a couple of local ordinances that ban cruise ships in a couple of different ways based on the ship size, et cetera, et cetera. So ever since that happened, there's been a movement in the Florida legislature to undo that. And a couple of weeks ago, right at the end of April, in a very late last-minute push right at the end of the legislative session, a law was passed, and now it's just sitting waiting for the governor's signature, and he's likely to sign it. And the law is basically going to overturn the referendum from November 2020 for Key West and allow cruise ships to continue as they always had in the past. Once the CDC gets off their ass and gets out of the way and lets cruise ships resume, which is supposed to happen soon. We're hearing July 2021 on that. But there was a lot of discussion in Key West last year in 2020 about this. We talked to some locals when we were down here during this trip. And there were definitely two big camps that were taking opposite positions on this. A lot of the locals want the cruise ship traffic because they need the business, and some of the more well-affluent, well-off, people that live down here or live down there on the island and everything were trying to claim that the environmental reasons were why they were pushing for the legislation, even though that's basically been debunked by experts. And some of the experts got into all kinds of weird stuff about turbidity in the water when the cruise ships come in, and like the depth of water underneath the keel, and just exactly how much the ships would disturb the sediment and all this. All kinds of stuff, really into the technical weeds about whether or not there were environmental damage caused by cruise ships. And the net effect of this is that Key West has spent most of the time during the pandemic really having to figure out, kind of how to get by without the cruise ship traffic. And to hear a lot of the politicians tell it, they've rebranded their marketing, and they've changed their marketing push to where cruise ship traffic is no longer a major piece of it. But I don't know. When we were down there, it was definitely weird because we had been down there the previous year in May, I think, of 2019, when we did a 4-night cruise to Cuba, and it included a stop in Key West. And that trip, we remember that very well, and it was definitely different in 2020, being back down there, a year later, no cruise ships in port, and just, it was a different feeling. And of course, COVID really, with everybody walking around wearing the masks, and you saw the police car right there. One of the Key West police officers actually got onto us because we were walking around without our mask, even though nobody was around us. Because the local ordinance in September of 2020 was that you had to have your mask on outside, even if you were not around other people, which is kind of stupid. But so they got onto us when one of the cops saw us walking around without a mask on. So it was just part of the deal, I guess. But hopefully Key West turns the corner and better days are ahead.